Hello, hello, lovelies. It is Melody Morris, the Holistic Happiness Shaman, coming to you today to talk about a couple of things. Actually had posted a poll in my Facebook group to find out what my group wanted me to talk about. So we're going to get into that now. All right, so I want to start with a bonus, like I always do. And I want to talk a little bit about neuroplasticity, okay? This is an awesome field of science where we can actually bridge our spiritual beliefs and our spirituality with neuroscience. And I find that fascinating and exciting. So my bonus for today is any words, anything that you say, anything that you want to believe that you couple with an action that you do routinely, but doing it with your non-dominant hand, your brain will automatically believe. So, to give you an example, if you are struggling with self-judgment and you want to knock that off, one of the ways that you can do that is by brushing your teeth with your non-dominant hand while telling yourself whatever it is that you want to believe about not judging yourself, about accepting yourself, about loving yourself, about your self-value, your self-worth, okay? So that's my tip for today, little neuroplasticity play for you guys to play with, okay? So the topic for today is 3 mistakes that I see 99% of spirit-led entrepreneurs make and how to avoid them, okay? Now, I'm taking this information from all of the spirit-led entrepreneurs that I have talked to over many, many, many years, and I've kind of condensed this down into 3 mistakes that I see made over and over and over, okay? So, mistake number 1, as spirit-led entrepreneurs, a lot of times we have a tendency to live in our head. Now, what does that mean? So as spirit-led entrepreneurs, one of the things that, of course, we focus on is making sure that we can get messages from the divine, the universe, source, the eternal, whatever you choose to call it. And those messages are typically received through our crown chakra, okay? And a lot of times as spirit-led entrepreneurs, especially when we have some kind of a shift or growth in our business or in our personal life, we have a tendency to sometimes get all up here in our head, to be all up here in our crown chakra, and never really pull that information down into our body so that we can then act on it, okay? I know that there's a lot of emphasis on being aligned in the spiritual entrepreneur community, and I am absolutely 100% a proponent of being aligned and taking action from an aligned place. But when we stay in our crown chakra, we stay up here in our head, and we don't pull that information down into our body, we are actually preventing ourselves from taking the action that we need to take in order to grow our businesses and in order to grow ourselves. So, mistake number 1 is living in our crown chakra and not pulling that information down into our body. Now, to tell you a quick story about this, so, and this will be kind of for mistake number 1 and mistake number 2. So when I first started my spirituality business, I went for probably 9 or 10 months without doing anything. I would plan, I would write things down, I was journaling, I was doing all of the energetic work, but I wasn't translating any of that energetic work into the physical, okay? And as spirit-led entrepreneurs, that's something that we have to get comfortable with. If we actually want to succeed, we have to get comfortable translating the things that we prepare for energetically and actually bringing them all the way into physical reality, okay? So when we live in our head, when we're constantly planning and we're constantly working on things and we're living up here in our crown chakra and we're getting divine messages and we're getting impulses, but then we're not acting on them and we're not bringing that knowledge down into our body, a lot of times that's what causes mistake number 2. So mistake number 2 is seeking perfect alignment instead of taking imperfect action. This is a little thing called procrastination. Now, again, I will say again, I am 100% a proponent of taking aligned action and doing the energetic work before you take the action. But sometimes, as spiritual entrepreneurs, we have a tendency to drag our feet and drag our feet and drag our feet and never take the download or the information that we have hanging out up here and bringing it all the way down into our body and out into the physical world. Pamela, I feel attacked. Honey, don't feel attacked. I'm right there in that boat with you. Procrastination and living in our crown chakra is something that every spiritual entrepreneur that I have ever spoken to struggles with, okay? You are not alone by any stretch of the means or imagination, okay? Every time my business up levels, this will come back and I have to deal with it again. So you are not alone and you are definitely not being attacked. But there really is something to be said about, yes, we need to have our crown chakra open. We need to be able to receive those messages, those impulses. We need to be able to receive that divine knowledge that's coming in. As a spirit-led or spiritual entrepreneur, yes, we need to make sure that our crown chakra is healthy so that we're receiving the way that we're supposed to. But we also have to translate all of that into the physical. One of the ways that we can do that is through imperfect action. Now, obviously, we don't want to get into a begging energy. We don't want to get into a pleading energy because that can bring up a whole other host of problems. But sometimes we do have to take imperfect action. So let that be my challenge to you guys today. If you're feeling like you're in that space where you're kind of like living in your head chakra, I am going to challenge you to consider whatever recent idea, whatever recent piece of information, whatever recent spiritual download you've received for your business. And I want you to think about what it is that you've received. And I want you to turn on some music that makes you want to shake your butt. And then do so. Think about the idea. Think about what it is that you're wanting to do. And turn on some music that makes you want to shake your butt. And then dance it out. What happens when we are activating our crown chakra and thinking about some kind of spiritual information that we've received, and then we move our body? What that actually does is, again, it's bringing that information out of our crown chakra and it's like draining it down into the rest of our body and letting it flow through us. So the majority of us, we actually take action from our lower 3 chakras. Our lower 3 chakras are where action come from. There are very few or at least for the vast majority of people, we actually take action from our lower 3 chakras. There are some people that the way their body is designed, they may take action from their mind, but it's still not taking action from your crown chakra. It's still different. You still have to like translate that energy down. So that would be my challenge to you. If there's something that you're procrastinating on, think about the idea, think about actually like doing the idea and dance. See what that does. All right, so then mistake number 3. And again, I have done this one myself. I'm right there with you. I got you. Number 3, we get so excited about something new that we want to do that we have a tendency to verbal vomit or energetically vomit all over our prospective clients. Now, to help avoid that, I want you to consider what your code of ethics is with your spirit-led business. To give you an idea of what I mean by this, my code of ethics with my spirit-led business is I understand that I am not here to interject what I think, what I feel, or messages that I receive into anyone else's experience. So because of that, unless I have someone asking me a direct question and has given me permission to intuit for them, when I'm not in that space, where I'm open to questions, either on a call with someone or on a live, I do the live intuitive readings inside my group. If it's not that kind of situation, I am not open to receiving messages for anyone, because it is not my job to receive messages for anybody out there and then try to interject that message into their experience. That's not my job. So from an ethical standpoint, as far as my code of ethics is concerned, I am never going to reach out to you and say, hey, I received this message for you. Are you open to receive it? No, you're not ever going to get that from me, because for me, that's against my code of ethics. Now for you, that may be different, and you have to decide that. So another thing for me, when I am working with a client one-on-one, or I'm working with clients in a group, before walking into that room, before starting the conversation, before going on, starting the live, before opening up Zoom, whatever it is that I'm doing, before actually going into that situation, I am going to stop outside the door for just a second, and I am going to imagine taking off a trench coat, okay? That trench coat is all of my stuff that I still need to work on. That trench coat is all of my stuff that I am already working on, because I can't be a clear channel for you guys if I am still wearing my stuff. So I visualize myself taking off a trench coat and hanging it up, and then I can walk into that room being a clear channel and not allowing, or rather, leaving my stuff outside the door so that it's not impacting you guys, so that it's not muddling the messages that come through for you guys. Okay, that's something that's very important to me, is making sure that you guys are getting clear messages by making sure that I am a clear channel. So I want you guys to consider, what is your code of ethics when it comes to your spiritual business? Give that some thought, give that some consideration. Write it down so that you have something to go back to and look at and say, okay, this is how I have decided my business functions. This is the code of ethics that my business and I follow. And anytime you need to refer back to that, refer back to it, at first, when you just created it, refer back to it daily. Refer back to it 2 or 3 times a day. Get it cemented in here so that when you are interacting with a client, you are operating from that space of the energetic agreement and the code of ethics that you and your business have decided on together. And remember, everything with your business is a partnership, okay? This is not you standing alone on the top of a mountain doing everything, okay? Your business has its own energy. Your business has its own source of energy for getting things done, okay? And a lot of times as spiritual entrepreneurs, we forget that we can ask our business to help us with the heavy lifting. So if we have an email that we're about to send out, and we're getting in that place where we're concerned, is this going to land right? Are people going to respond? I'm concerned about this. Talk to the energy of your business. Ask it, is there anything in this email that I need to change? Is there anything in this email that isn't aligned with where we are going? If you need to change something, change it. Once you and your business agree that the email is aligned and it's ready to go out, push that send button. Get that puppy out there and then ask your business, hey, go out there and make sure that the people that need to see this and that the people that are going to respond to this, go out there and make sure they see it. And the energy of your business will do that. We can ask the energy of our business to do things for us. We can task the energy of our business to do things for us. Just remember that the energy of your business is taking the lead from you. So if you're not acting, if you're sitting in procrastination, your business is not going to do all of the heavy lifting. We still have to lead, and we do that energetically, and we also do that with our action. And I've actually talked about a couple of things that I didn't intend to. So there we go. Interesting and fun things. All right. So I want to know if you guys have any questions about the 3 mistakes and how to avoid them. Oh, and actually, there's one other thing that I want to share with you guys before I go. So you guys know that I'm a big fan of making sure that we are tying spirituality and science together. It's one of the reasons that I talk about neuroplasticity. It's one of the reasons that I talk about the reticular activating system in our brain. It's one of the reasons why I talk about the pituitary gland. It's why I talk about the vagus nerve, because all of those things affect our physical body and also affect us on a spiritual and energetic level. So, I want to give you guys one other little tip, okay? This is something that I've started doing every day, and I can tell you 100% it is making a huge difference in my stress resiliency, okay? So we live in a world today where the majority of us live under a constant state of stress. Now, does that mean that we're stressed out to the max all the time? Not necessarily. Some of us are. But we almost all of us live in a constant state of some kind of stress. And over the long term, that's really not healthy for our body. It's not healthy for our mental health. So it's not healthy for our mind. And anything that isn't healthy for our body and anything that isn't healthy for our mind over a long period of time is also not healthy for our spirit. So here is a little tip, a little something that I have been doing every day that I have noticed is helping considerably with my stress resiliency, okay? And that thing is toning my vagus nerve. Now, I have 2 different techniques that I use for this on a daily basis. I'm going to share one of them with you guys, okay? So what you're going to do is you're going to sit up nice and tall, sit up nice and straight, interlock your fingers and put them behind your head, okay? And then kind of lean back in your chair. I still want you to be sitting up straight, but allow the chair to hold your back. And look to the right. And I want you to continue looking to the right and just focusing on your breathing, making sure that you're breathing into your belly and relaxing your belly so that your lungs can fill completely up. And what's going to happen after you've had your head turned for anywhere between 10 to 30 seconds. Sometimes it can take longer than that, but usually for me it's around 10 to 30 seconds. But what's going to happen once you've had your head turned for a certain period of time and you're focusing on your breathing? Your body is going to respond with some kind of like an automatic body response. The people that I've spoken to that have started using this technique or have used this technique in the past, the vast majority of them say that they yawn. Some people will also say that instead of yawning, maybe their eyes will like do a funny flicker. But the vast majority of people have said that they yawn. Now, once you've been looking to the right and you've yawned, then you're going to do the same, looking to the left. And you're going to hold that position, just breathing into your belly until you experience the same automatic body response. Now, what that actually does is it's activating your vagus nerve. Your vagus nerve is the main nerve that runs between your brain and your gut. It controls your mental health. It controls your level of anxiety. It controls our cardiovascular health. It controls our gastrointestinal health. It literally weaves through the entire body and touches every system inside the body, okay? When we focus on toning our vagus nerve, what we're actually doing is we are making sure that the communication between our brain and our gut is open and flowing the way that it's supposed to be. Now, a lot of people don't know this, but the majority, like 70% of our memory, so the majority of our hormones are actually more controlled by our gut than they are by our brain. So if our gut can't, now our brain is actually what like triggers the hormones to be released into our system. But some of that information to trigger hormones actually comes from our gut. So if we're stressed out and our vagus nerve is not communicating properly between our brain and our gut, what can happen is our brain won't know, oh, hey, I need to create this hormone, or I need to trigger the body to create this hormone to help them calm down. And then we stay in that state of anxiety because we don't have communication between our gut, which is considered our body brain, and our actual brain in our head. So by toning our vagus nerve, what we're actually doing is we're teaching our body, we're teaching our brain to stay in a calmer state. We're teaching our body to stay more in a parasympathetic nervous system setting, which is rest and digest. So I hope that tip is helpful to you guys. Let me know in the comments. All right, last thing before I let you go. I do want to let you guys know that if you need some assistance around these 3 mistakes, or whatever mistakes you feel like you're making in your business, if you need some help around creating a strategy, creating a plan to help you move through resistance, to help you move through procrastination, to help you move through, living in your head and never acting on anything, or acting on things perhaps too late in the game, when you should have maybe taken an action earlier, I want you to consider signing up for one of my intuitive strategy experiences for life or business, okay? Now, what that entails is I'm going to be sending you a questionnaire that is going to ask you some specific questions about all kinds of different parts of your life, okay? Now, if you want to focus on business, then those are going to be focused on business questions. If you want to focus on your life in general, then those are going to be more, more everyday life focused questions. So I'm going to send you a comprehensive questionnaire. You're going to go through it, answer all the questions, send it back to me so that I have an opportunity to read it, digest it, and sit with it for a minute. Then we are going to meet virtually. We're going to meet on Zoom or Google Meet or somewhere. We'll figure out where. We're going to meet somewhere virtually, and we're going to take 90 minutes, and we're going to create you a strategy or a plan to help you move through resistance, move through procrastination, or move through whatever it is that's holding you back in your life or your business, whichever you chose. Now, once we've created that plan, we are also going to talk about some neuroplasticity. We're going to talk about other ways to tone your vagus nerve. We are going to talk about techniques that you can use to release self-judgment and learn to love yourself more, learn to see yourself as worthy of good things. So we're going to talk about a lot of things. Like, the strategy is going to be in place, but I am also going to make sure that you have actionable tools that are going to help you actually get the work done, okay? So, and we're actually going to have 2 of those sessions. We're going to do one up front immediately right after you've sent me the questionnaire, and then we're going to do a second in 30 days so that if there is any part of that first initial plan that isn't working, we can tweak it, we can change it. That will give me additional time to sit with the answers to your questions, so that if there is something additional comes up, we can shift, we can change, and we can tweak your strategy however that needs to be done. Now, in between those 2 strategy sessions, I am also going to offer you 2 one-on-one energetic alignment sessions. Those are the shamanic healing sessions that I've been doing forever and ever and ever. And what we're actually going to do during those 2 energy alignment sessions, we are going to focus on the 2 biggest problems that you have based on your questionnaire, and we are going to move the energy forward on those 2 subjects, okay? So you're getting a total of 6 hours of my one-on-one devoted time specifically for you over a 30-day period of time for $297. That is literally the cheapest way to work with me one-on-one. There's not any other offer that I offer that you can get for less than that, okay? So this was actually something that was requested that I bring back, and I wanted to make sure that you guys were getting excellent value and making sure that you were actually getting a solid strategic plan in place. So that's why I've added, those additional pieces to that. It's why we're doing, 2 90-minute strategy sessions instead of just one. And it's why I've added in those 2 energetic alignment sessions. Now, if you're looking at the price and you're going, holy crap, I can't afford that, we can do payments, okay? I'm not tied to the money. You don't have to pay me up front. It's going to be okay. We can figure it out. If this is something that you want to do, if this is something that you feel like is right for you to do, reach out. We can talk. We can figure out a payment plan. It's not a problem, okay? So, for any of you that are interested in that, I know that I sent out an email a few days ago saying that I was limiting it to 3. I've actually changed my mind about that. My guides have kind of expanded my understanding of how important it is for us to have a strategic plan to move ourselves through resistance and through procrastination. So I'm actually going to be opening that up, and basically until they tell me to shut it down, I'm going to take anybody and everybody who wants to do it. If that ends up being 10 people, that's fantastic. If it ends up being 25, that's great too. We will see what my guides say as far as, when I actually need to close that off. So for now, this is a free-for-all. It's open to everybody. So if that's something that you're interested in, something that you feel like is right for you, please reach out to me through a private message and we will figure it out. Okay? So, much love to you all. And just in case nobody else tells you this today, I love you. And I think you're doing a fantastic job. And I'll see you again soon. Bye for now.